The headline is, "Are more adults coming into the Catholic Church?" I'm paraphrasing because I don't have it in front of me at the moment. But what he did was he just showed you the numbers. I'll give you an example. Like he just puts Archdiocese of Baltimore, 778 people came into the church, 669 last year. Some of them are wildly impressive.
Vancouver, I know it's not in
That's
America,
the one I wanted to get
doubled.
to. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Can you just read what it says there on the Vancouver?
I don't have it in front of me. I just remember that they doubled.
But they doubled, and last year was a record. It was 350 last year. That was a record. They had never had that many, and they doubled it.
I think they have 720 this year.
Yeah.
And so I looked up Vancouver's population. They have like 760,000 people. So you keep this going for another 10 years or so, and you're going to have a fully Catholic Vancouver.
I feel like I've noticed this just at my own parish, that the RCIA classes seem a little bit larger.
Well, Darren was reminding me this morning that we've noticed it on the program, that we had a conversation, probably 6 months ago, Darren, something like that, how many people call now and go, I'm in the RCIA or OCIA.
Yeah, we should get that. Do we have an answer to that question, by the way?
The percentage?
No, whether it's OCIA or RCIA.
No, I think this is probably what's causing the uptick. People were delaying because they said, I'm not ready for a rite, but if it's an ordo, I'll do that.
I'm on my way.
I'm assuming that was the last hurdle for a lot of people.
No,
so
I think
glad we solved that.
RCIA, OCIA, it's one of those things where as a Catholic, you just have to accept some mysteries. It's mysterious, and you just have to accept that.
Yeah, I mean,
do you want to focus on the positive or the negative here?
What positive? Let's start with the positive. Let's just try it for a minute, Joe. See how it goes.
This is a sign that in the midst of all of the bleak news and everything else, that not only are people still converting to Catholicism, but that this rate by all measures appears to be going up. And this is a great sign that the people who are, the prophets of despair are too excessive in their harshness and in their condemnation of everything going on in the church.
Yeah, I think that there's someone that we can point to almost 50 years ago in the sort of post-conciliar catechetical desert. Who made a decision to found an apostolate called Catholic Answers, and I'm speaking of Carl Keating.
Carl Keating, yeah.
And when I mention him here, I don't simply mean the legacy of Catholic Answers, which has expanded dramatically since his day there, leafleting the windshields of the Baptist parking lot, but all of the other lay apostolates that have borne fruit in the wake of that decision that Carl made to step out of the boat in faith. And it is all of these, not just Catholic Answers, but all of them, EWTN, Augustine Institute. There's so many that I think are responsible.
Yeah.
It has actually been what John Paul called for in a new evangelization, Pope St. John Paul II, and although there he's specifically speaking of the catechizing of the sacramentalized, nonetheless, there has been an effect here where the laity have responded to this call in a way that I think is unique in human history, certainly in the history of the Church, and it's beginning to bear some fruit.
That is a beautiful analysis. I think you nailed it. I think that's exactly what has happened.
Shall we go to the next topic then? Because I don't think Joe's
because Joe and I need to get in the video when Luke cuts this up and puts it on YouTube. But Joe, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to kind of caveat all of our joy. Just for the sake of truth.
I told you save it for the second hour.
Yeah, second hour is going to be negative hour today.
We want to hold two things together. There are more people leaving the church than coming into the church by a wide margin.
Yes.
This is a very bad trend. And so what we should see is not, look, we're exploding, we're bursting at the seams, but the hemorrhaging is slowing seemingly, hopefully. Although we're still looking at two different numbers. I mean, if you want to think about it almost like a balance sheet, I know it's a little bit gross as an analogy, you can say, okay, well, profits are up over here, but are the losses worse among, cradle Catholics? Only if you can kind of compare those numbers. Like, what's that trajectory looking like? Can you have a sort of balanced view of the overall picture? But I think the solution there is just, okay, well, we're not going to try to solve the overall picture right now. We can say something is clearly going well in terms of outreach to non-Catholics, an area where Catholics have not always been great about, reaching out to non-Catholics and converting and doing all of the things Jesus calls us to do. And so there are definitely green shoots, even if there are still some downward, trajectories elsewhere.
I think Joe's comments here merit some more consideration. I agree with everything he said, because this is a measure of specifically non-Catholics coming into the Catholic Church.
Right.
And the other measure that Joe mentioned is people who are already in the Catholic Church leaving it, or at least discontinuing their active participation therein. So what are the principal means of outreach to non-Catholics? And these are things that, to me, exist, as I said before, because of the efforts of laity. Because
absolutely.
If the USCCB has a formal and effective program of outreach to non-Catholics, I'm not aware of it. Or if the San Diego Diocese does. But I do know that Catholic Answers and all these other institutions, I don't mean to keep tooting our horn, though I believe a lot of great work has been done by the cooperation of the Holy Spirit by the staff of Catholic Answers. But this is the effect of the faithfulness of the laity working in the apostolate.
But
I want to suggest three. Sorry, go ahead, Si.
I appreciate that, Joe, because I want to say something that I not to correct anything that you just said, but to avoid an error that I think a listener might make here and there. There is not a competition between the laity and the clergy in this regard.
100%. And you're totally right. And I'm not suggesting that.
And I want to give an example.
I can't forgive people's sins. There's not going to be.
You need to work on that.
There's especially Joe's.
See, that's why he gets in the videos and we don't.
Especially
knock
Joe's.
It off, Joe.
Yeah.
Well, here, let me give you an example.
I'll be in that video because I set him up there. That was a softball.
That's how you get in there.
7 times, 77 times.
So, we go out and it's a great privilege to get to go. And I know you both get to do them. You go to the gala for the local Catholic radio network or the Catholic radio station.
Yes.
Just a week ago, I'm in Minnesota they're doing one for Real Presence Radio in Duluth, Minnesota. 2 bishops, tons of priests come to the gala. The bishops are, they don't just get up and say, bless everybody in some perfunctory way, but they talk about how this is what we need to be doing. They ask people to give their money. So there's this partnership between bishops and laity in these things. And
Minnesota, by the way, is having a total moment.
Is it really?
Like
I didn't know that.
The Upper Midwest, you've got Father Mike Schmitz, you've got Bishop Cousins, you've got Bishop
Hebda,
Barron.
Archbishop Hebda.
When you think about
I was there.
There's so much stuff going up in the tundra north. You're just like, how can anything good come from Minnesota? And apparently, at least good bishops can go there.
That is not the Bible quote. Can anything good come from Minnesota?
That's close.
It's not even close at all.
Minnesota's the Nazareth of America.
No, is it really? No, actually,
Detroit would be the Nazareth of America.
But you go to go to Real Presence Radio or Iowa Catholic Radio or Spirit Catholic Radio or Guadalupe. I hesitate to mention them because there's so many people doing amazing work. There is a fired up community of people who's all they're trying to do is share the good news with other people. Like there's no ulterior motives. This is the church in action. This is what the Second Vatican Council called for. This is what's his name? Oh yeah, the Messiah, the Lord and Messiah.
Yes.
What did he say when he said, go and make disciples of all the nations? Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, well, I was just piggybacking on that. What I was going to say is you think of it as 3 forces working together. You have this role of the clergy, the bishops and the priests, but they have a duty to take care of the already Catholic. And as a result, this occupies, and I think even appropriately occupies, a lion's share of what a diocesan bishop or priest is doing. The second factor are going to be ordinary lay people. And we are commissioned explicitly by Pope John Paul II to go and make disciples. If it wasn't enough that Jesus told you to, John Paul II and Christi Fideli Laity says you go to the laity, that it's not enough to just trust Father's going to do it.
Right.
Because Father realistically can't do it. And the challenge I always give people when I'm speaking at events and talking about this theme is I say, okay, by show of hands, how many of you have a friend or loved one who is not Catholic, who you know well? And everyone's hand shoots up. And then I say, okay, by show of hands, how many of them are close friends with a priest? And unless it's a priest who has his hand up in the first place, everybody's hand goes down. And then I say, okay, think about this. Who do they know who is an on-fire Catholic? And it's like, well, it's you. So at the Last Judgment, if they didn't accept Christ, if they didn't become Catholic, it's not Father's fault. He's not going to be the one standing in account for that.
Yeah.
I'll let you fill in the blank. That's kind of how I present it, because we can so easily slip into a very convenient clericalism where it's somebody else's job. We complain about this with government, people expecting the government to do things they should be doing themselves. We do that as Catholics when it comes to the clergy. And we've been sent to be spiritual entrepreneurs, if you want to use a cheesy kind of economic term. And then, the third piece, just to make sure it's out there. So that second piece is everybody. You don't have to be particularly gifted. You don't have to be great at theology. You don't have to be great at apologetics. Love people. Share how Jesus has touched your life. Do that. That's going to be 90% of the hard work. There is nevertheless a role for that last 10% where people might have really hard questions. And that is where a handful of people, some priests, but mostly laity, have been called to do apologetics and do the kind of the hard question answering. Don't mistake that for the first 90%, because it's not. But this can be an important role in removing certain intellectual obstacles that keep people from saying yes when they should be saying yes. That's what we do at Catholic Answers. That's what other workers in the vineyard do in that regard. But we should see all these pieces as in harmony one with another.
Right.
Yeah.
Amen. Yeah. This is something that Carl Keating used to say all the time. The age, he would say, the bells of St. Mary age is over. The age of go ask Father, that is over.
Yeah.
It's not returning in our lifetime. And thanks be to God. I mean, of course, definitely we want, I have to clarify, we want more vocations, right?
Yeah.
We want more vocations to the priesthood and the religious life. But at long last in the history of the church, the laity are bringing souls to Christ.
Right, and doing it like they're not... they're doing exactly what they were called by the bishops to do at the last great council. And we'll talk more about where the success is coming from. Flannel Panel continues right after this.